One day I'll hear the laugh of children in a world where war has been banned.
One day I'll see men of all colors sharing words of love and devotion.
Well, I challenge you to be able to watch that trailer and all those beautiful clips and the music, not have goosebumps. I tear up a little bit when I watch it. So I can only imagine when you're sitting in a theater watching this on the big screen. Joining me now, Kristian Kelly, the content director, producer of this film. Congratulations. This is, I mean, it just looks like a masterpiece, on camera. My goodness.
Oh, thank you so much. It was honestly such an honor to work on it. It was one of those dream jobs to be able to be
I
there.
would say so. So I guess let's start with the timeline. So you were telling me you guys shot this and filmed this right after COVID.
Yes. Yeah. It was just, to be honest, we got over there for the pre-production during COVID and actually did the trail after things began to open up. We're just starting to open up over there in Italy and here in the US.
Well, I can only imagine mentally being in that space of kind of what the world was going through and then embarking on this journey and documenting it as well. So as best, this is so different, I think, than what people have seen before. Certainly fans of his music. There was a Christmas special, but explain what it is, how you guys are packaging this in a film, because it is so different.
Yeah. When they approached us with this project, Andrea Bocelli's desire was really to take viewers on their own spiritual journey as he went on his. And he had heard of some composers who had done this trail, the Via Francigena Trail. It's a ancient pilgrimage trail that's still walked by thousands today. Just a place where people get back to their roots, have time in nature, time to pray. And he really wanted to take this trail. But since he was doing it, his wife suggested, well, why don't we, document it and take others on the trail so they can explore their own spiritual journey as you do yours. And so that's really what it was. It was just, 200 miles on horseback. He and Veronica and several friends began to ride, and we followed them the whole time. No shortcuts. He wanted to do the 200 miles. He went from Rome to Liatico, his hometown. And along the way, we stopped at these beautiful locations and had these little private concerts with a couple artists that he wanted to spend time with, some Christian artists, and just had conversations about life and faith and family and what really matters.
And again, I just think the world is so hungry for this right now. And I think so many people can relate because they are kind of post-COVID. I think so many of us went on those, we may not have been able to go to Italy like this, but kind of on their own journey. Are you kind of hearing that feedback as word gets out about this film and kind of what you guys did?
I am. Honestly, we've had a few small premieres just to show a few people before it comes out in theaters, and the response has really been interesting. We've had people kind of in tears talking about how for them watching it was, one, refreshing, but two, made them really think about what matters. Because, during COVID, I think a lot of people, all the busyness went away, all the nonstop, the kids to the sports games and going to the office every hour and dinners out. And we had to take time to really have margin in our lives.
Mm-hmm.
It was almost forced on us. And I think in that margin, we really started being able to think again about what matters. So I think seeing this spiritual journey and Andrea just exploring these issues, I think it brought us back to that moment again.
Well, and I was just going to say that because I feel like we're getting really busy again, and I
Yes.
think things are getting all amped up again, and it's nice to go back to that moment. Maybe good that came out of all of that, where we can remember how refreshing that was. So to have this documented is amazing. I was going to ask you what your favorite part of this film is, but I have an idea of one moment in particular that you shared with me.
Wasn't you won't see it in the film, but at the very end when he makes it back home and everyone's so excited, he has one last concert at the Theater of Silence, which is his theater outdoors. And that last day, my boyfriend at the time had come over, which for the last day, and surprised me with a proposal. So on the very last day of the concert, he shows up, and right after Andrea and Katherine Jenkins sing, he walks up on stage and proposes to me, and I was totally shocked. I had no idea. I
That's
had no idea.
amazing. Oh, I love it. Well, congratulations. Of
Thank
course, you're
you.
married now. Talk
Yeah.
about, you mentioned these concerts, and this is such a big part of the film as well. I mean, big names, Michael W. Smith, Tori Kelly, Torrin Wells. Was it hard to get people on board with this? Or I'd imagine they were like, yeah, let's go to Italy.
Yeah, honestly, Andrea Bocelli is one of those names. When you say, "Hey, do you want to sing with him?" Everyone's like, "Yes, I'll drop whatever I'm doing to sing with him." So it was. I think they felt really honored to be able to be on that trip. And honestly, how can you say no to a trip to
Yeah.
Italy in the first place? But no, he's someone that he's an iconic, artist of our time, and I think everyone was really excited to be a part of the project.
Talk about, was there any challenges with this film as far as, I'd imagine, I mean, it's a beautiful trail. The shots and everything are absolutely stunning and gorgeous. I mean, it looks like, almost drone footage as well. What were some of the challenges kind of from behind the curtain kind of perspective of getting this
Yeah.
all done?
Yeah, well, first of all, most people do know, but Andrea Bocelli is blind.
Yeah.
So to go on horseback 200 miles, that is quite a feat to take on. And so
Is
we
he
had someone.
familiar with horseback?
Oh, yes, yes. He's been riding since he was a child. So, I mean, he feels very, very comfortable on one. But we had someone, several, yards ahead that was leading. But we actually did have an incident where we had one of the horses that got his foot. I guess it was like a gopher hole or something, which was a very dangerous moment. None of the crew was with him. And we weren't able to be with him at every junction because there were certain areas that were too, narrow for the cars to get through. So in this particular one, the crew wasn't with him, and the horse not his, but another horse went into the hole, and it was a really dangerous situation. Luckily, there was a lot of prayer that went into that moment. Luckily, they were able to get him out, and it was just injured enough that that was the end of his trail, but he was okay afterwards. But there were a lot of different scenarios that were very difficult in the
Kind
in
of
the
just of the terrain of trying to get
yeah,
the shots and
yeah.
get through. Wow.
Hmm.
What are you most proud of, you think, when you look at this film and see it? And what are you
Yeah.
really hoping that people will take away from it?
You know, one, I think it ended up being a really beautiful film. I think when people watch it, they will feel refreshed as they sit there and see the beautiful landscape and the music and the conversations. It just has a really refreshing feeling to it. But honestly, I really hope that viewers do take their own spiritual journey as they watch it and begin to ask those questions again. What matters? What relationships matter to me? What in all the busyness and the things I'm doing really are the most important priorities in my life? And I think this film will help ask those questions again. We talk about forgiveness. We talk about hope. We talk about family. We talk about peace. How do you have peace in the midst
Mm.
of difficult situations? And I really hope that viewers will take away some of those lessons. Andrea said in a book he wrote about it afterwards that he had many companions along the way, but a lot of his companions were the quiet companions, those companions of peace, of forgiveness, of hope that he learned from on this trail. And I hope the audience will as well.
Yeah. For those that, because you spent so much time with them, what is your perspective on the Bocelli family and how they operate? And I mean, they just seem like such a kind, family. I mean, what can you say kind of on their behalf about who they are?
Yeah, they are so genuine. Honestly, I felt so blessed to be with them. Andrea and Veronica have such a great relationship. I mean, they have, that we had funny moments and, situations where, he was like, you can do it on the horse, and she's like, I can't. But we had, every couple's spats, I
Yep.
guess you could say. But overall, they really, they are just such a strong dynamic couple together, and their children they
I
have
was going to ask
raised.
about it because they're in it.
Yes, they've raised some. Yeah, Mateo and Virginia have parts in it, and then you'll
Mhm.
see Amos at the end. But they really just have such a beautiful family structure. And honestly, Andrea has a very strong faith, and he talks about that in his movie, and even how he raised his kids in that, and how important it is to him.
No, I love that. All right. Well, again, it's coming to theaters, and then is there going to be a soundtrack released afterwards? Do you know? I mean, again,
That's we're talking about that right now, so I think that's in the works.
okay, I would imagine that would be eventually coming, but either way, people need to go see this. Again, it's going to be nice eventually, probably on the small screen, but the big screen is where it is at, I'd imagine, with something that is so stunningly beautiful. So,
Yeah.
congratulations on everything. Congratulations on being a newlywed now as well, and getting engaged there as well. Thank you so much for your time. Anything next for you, by the way? What's your next
We're
project?
actually looking at the 35th anniversary, his
Ooh.
35th anniversary. So we may have another one in the works soon.
All right. Sounds good. Well, you enjoy. Take care and God bless.
Thank you so much.